no signs that a peaceful power transfer is in the cards. What do we do right now? Joining me now, Kat Calvin, founder and executive director of Spread the Vote and co-host of the Vote podcast, and Andrea Haley, CEO of Vote.org and co-host of the Vote podcast. All right, thank you two so much for joining us. I guess everyone now is going to go subscribe to the podcast, which was the point of that intro. But Kat, we have polling from Axios that shows that in as much as we're all trying to set the expectation that this is not going to be a normal election, that we're probably not going to have results on election night, you still have 1 in 3 Americans who think we're going to know the outcome of the election on election day. So clearly, still a lot of work to do. How do you make sure that that message hits home?
You're doing it right now. The biggest thing that we can do is to have media, to have podcasts, to have organizations, to have everyone just repeat the message over and over again that we're not going to know before the polls close in Alaska who won the election like we always do, that it is a totally normal and okay and not fraudulent or corrupt thing if it takes a while to count the votes. You know, just logically, there's a huge difference between everyone going to a polling place, you know, and putting in your vote on an electric machine or in a Scantron and then going home and the votes being tabulated, and people who have to open an envelope and take out the actual ballot and then put it in a machine. And we just have to repeat over and over again, it's okay, keep calm, wait for the count.
Andrea, I also want to counter what the president is saying. You have Trump encouraging people to vote twice, saying to vote in person after sending in your mail-in ballot. But you can track your mail-in ballot. So walk us through what it looks like to do this responsibly.
But you can track across the country right now. And of course, we know that you can only vote once, and to say anything else is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm losing Andrea's internet. It's going in and out. So, Kat, it's an important question, and I want to kick it over to you. If you are going to vote by mail, how do you then track that ballot?
So quite a few states, not all of them, but many of them do allow you to track your ballot. And they do it in different ways. Usually there's a barcode or a number or something. You can go on your Board of Elections site. You know, my mother is already obsessively tracking when her ballot's going to be mailed, because you can do that in California. And so, you know, when you get your ballot, read the instructions, which is critical no matter what, because you have to sign the envelope. You have to do a lot of things to make sure your ballot is counted. But if you live in a state where you can track it, the instructions will be on the ballot. It's pretty simple, and it's an important thing to do.
I wonder for you, Kat, as someone who does this work full time, how you both acknowledge that this is going to be a complicated election, acknowledge that it is going to be, you know, in some ways more challenging for people to vote, while also keeping up the enthusiasm such that people want to go out there and be a part of the process.
No idea what was coming in 2000. We'd never heard of a hanging Chad. There, you know, that is just a thing that every time I hear the name Chad,
can you hear me?
I have PTSD. But what we, you know, the advantage we have now is we know what's coming. We have 2 months until the election. We have plenty of time to get the messaging out. We have plenty of time to make sure people are reading the directions. We have time to prepare people. We didn't have that before. So every time we hear the president say, hey, vote twice, well, he's just given us 60-something days to make sure people know how to make sure they're voting legally and that their vote is counted. So this is actually the perfect thing that could be happening. This isn't a surprise. It's not something that's happening November 1st. We know right now what we need to prepare for, and there are organizations and people across the country who are working hard to make sure that votes are counted and that as many people as possible get to the polls.
Can you hear me now?
I mean, Andrea, to Kat's point, I think a lot of us understand the problem, and the question is about a timely solution. What is possible in the next few weeks? So you see the NBA stepping in, opening up stadiums such that people can come and vote there. What more do you want to see in the next few weeks?
I think people all across this country right now are reimagining their role in democracy. I think companies, sports teams, athletes, schools, individuals. And I think that that's really important because we know that this is going to be a collective effort this year. So we know that we need more poll workers. A new generation is going to have to step up to really make this election work. We are so excited to see so many companies and the NBA, letting people come in to use their locations as polling locations. We are going to need increased numbers of people in many states counting absentee ballots. There's a lot of work to be done, but I think the important thing here is we have the skills and resources and things that we need to make it happen in this country. What we need is the collective will to pull it all off. And I think this year we're seeing the resiliency of the American voter, and we're going to see a lot of high turnout this year.